Hey guys, I'm Roger Herron. I am the Investor's Accountant. Welcome to an expanded edition of Ask Roger and Tax Update. I got a number of things that I want to talk with you about today, and I just thought we would jump in and take some of the miscellaneous questions I've been getting that everybody seems to want to know the answer to. So, the first question is this thing called the Corporate Transparency Act. Roger, I heard about this Corporate Transparency Act, and then I heard I had to do something, but then I heard it got ruled unconstitutional. So what's the deal? Okay, first let me tell you about CTA. The Corporate Transparency Act was actually passed back in 2021. It was a bipartisan bill, and its intent was to register all small businesses to cut down on human trafficking, money laundering, and the drug trade. So, the requirements are any new businesses, I believe they have 45 days if they were formed, and that would be LLCs and Incs, meaning limited liability companies and corporations. Those things would have 45 days if they're formed after December 31, 2023. So anything formed this year, you need to go ahead and register, because it is not unconstitutional for everyone. You see, there was a case, and the judge in the case ruled it overreach and unconstitutional, but the injunction on registration was only applied to the plaintiffs in the case. So, if they were a member of the association that sued, you are exempt from CTA according to the federal judge. If you are not part of that organization and were not part of it before the ruling, CTA still applies. So, if you have a new business, you need to go ahead and register it. Now, the deadline, if you had an existing business like me, we have until 12/31/2024 to complete the registration. So, if you've got a new business, register now. If you've got existing businesses, I would hold off. Now, we know there's going to be more challenges to the Corporate Transparency Act, and we know that the Justice Department is going to go out and try and defend it. So, we don't know what's going to happen. So, I recommend wait. Now, if you don't want to wait, you can go ahead and go file it yourself. Just go online to, it's the FinCEN website. All you have to do is Google Corporate Transparency Act, and it'll pop up, okay? Or you can pay somebody else to do it. Now, we do not do them. We don't do them for anybody from the outside. We don't do them for existing clients. Sorry, guys. I do have a referral that I can give you to an attorney that will do it for a very reasonable price. But this is something that you can do yourself, okay? So, if you started a new business and it's an LLC or an Inc. in 2024, go ahead and register. If you had an existing business on 12/31/2023, you have until the last day of 2024 to make it happen, and I would wait to see if it's overturned. All right, that's everything on the Corporate Transparency Act. Now, this time of year, everybody starts worrying about paying the IRS, and everybody starts complaining about, do I need to file an extension? I don't want to file an extension. Why do I have to file an extension? Let me tell you something, guys. Always file an extension. Always, always, always. Okay? The reason you want to file the extension, you don't want to rush a tax return. Guys, most people, especially if they are invested in multiple businesses or syndications or funds, they're not going to have all of their K-1 documents until, if they're lucky, March or early April. But for most of my clients, that doesn't happen until August or early September. So we're always scraping to get by. What happens when you rush? You miss things. I had a guy that insisted he had to file by the 15th. He got his stuff in on time. You know what happened 10 days later? He calls me and says, I messed up. I forgot this and this. And then when we start the amendment, he calls again. Oh, and I need to add this. And I told him, we're not going to file this until August, because you apparently missed a whole lot of stuff But I'll get audited if I owe money. I said, you're going to get audited if we do multiple amendments. Okay? An amendment is going to be a higher audit risk than you owing money to the IRS, guys. So, what's the deal with owing money? You know, there's people that make estimated payments. There's people that choose not to make estimated payments. Now, what does the law say? If you're required to make them, you're supposed to make them. But what's the penalty? That's just it. It's a financial penalty. It's a few $1,000s. So there's a lot of people that choose not to make estimated tax payments, and they suck up the penalty. They look at that as the cost of keeping their money deployed and invested all year long. Well, then there's this other types. They've made their payments, but they're terrified that they're going to owe. And they insist they have to file and pay by the 15th. Guys, do you know what the penalty is? Most people don't have a clue. Late pay penalty is 1/2 of 1% per month. Well, Roger, isn't there interest too? Sure, there's interest. It's 8% per year. If you do the math and add them together, penalty and interest is 1.2% per month. Okay, penalty annually, 6%. IRS interest, 8%. 14% per annum. That's less money than most people are paying their credit card company, guys. Okay, you need to pay the IRS. I'm a veteran. Once upon a time, my salary and benefits were based off of tax dollars. Yeah, I was a soldier back in the day. That's why you get the Roger out. The salute is real. Anyway, you're going to pay the IRS eventually, yes. The penalty is only 1.2% per month. Penalty and interest. So it's not a big deal if you can't pay by the 15th. Let's get the tax return right, and then we'll make a payment. And then we're not going to have to amend a return, and we're not going to have a higher audit risk. Okay? Now, some people say, well, Roger, what if I I have my extension, what if I get to the due date on it and I still don't have everything? Then you need to file. Then you need to file, and we'll need to amend once you get all of the data. Well, Roger, why? You just said the penalty is nothing. That's a failure to pay penalty. A failure to file penalty is a whole different ballgame. That's 5% of the tax due per month. Ouch. That can add up really fast. So yeah, late pay, 1.2% penalty in interest per month. Late file, 5%. Okay? So that means if you owe, 5% of the amount due. Now, people are thinking, well, Roger, if they only penalize you on the amount due, does that mean there's really no due date? Yeah. If you don't owe the IRS, there's no penalty. So yeah, there's still the due dates, but they can't hit you with a late pay or a late file if you don't owe them anything. That's just the way it works. The deadlines don't apply. Speaking of deadlines, the next tax deadlines that you have coming up for income tax, the S Corp returns and partnership returns that were extended are due on September 15th. And C Corporation returns and your 1040, they are due when? October 15th. Do not file them late, okay? Or the penalties will hit you. Now, one more thing I want to tell you, it's very important that you stick with filing S Corp and partnership returns on time, because those are information returns and they charge you a penalty per partner or per shareholder per month. So yeah, they're charging you $200 a month per person that's involved in the company because they never owe. So always, always, always file extensions and file by the extended deadline. That's it for the day, gang. Until the next time, Roger out.